Hi, I'm Heather from Here Booktubes, and today is my June reading wrap up. In June, I read 30 books. I DNF'd 4, and so I'm going to talk about 26. This is quite a few more than I've been averaging so far this year, at least. June was not a great month, and July has also been a little bit rough the few days that we've been in it, so that's part of why I don't look as put together as I normally try to do, but I'm just not really up for it. And reading is definitely a coping mechanism for me, so read a little heavier. As always, gonna go in chronological order. The books are listed and linked in my description if they're available currently in Kindle Unlimited. That's marked. First book that I read was Unhinged, which is Necessary Evils #1 by Onley James. I gave this 5 stars. This is a male-male romance, and as far as I can tell from bios, this is a female author who writes exclusively male-male romance, so do with that what you will. That is something I do try to avoid. So that's just a little disclaimer. But these are psychopaths who are all adopted by a billionaire who was conducting a social experiment to see if he could have them be killers to take out the type of people who abuse others. So they're all male-male romances. Some of the characters are not gay, some are pan or bi or whatever, but they are all male-male romances. And this one, the psychopath killed the other main character's dad because he was running a child sex ring. So some pretty big content warnings for that. That's throughout the entire book, but I loved the obsessive insta-love. I love that type of thing. I love reading sociopaths and psychopaths, whether they're falling in love or not, just like finding the shiny object, the person that is the center of their world, and watching like that obsessiveness. I really like it, and that's definitely what you got here. Then I read The Spinster and the Thief by Lisette Marshall. I gave this 3 stars. This is a fantasy romance with a spinster who's been at this marriage mart court basically for years and years and has not been proposed to, and then the thief who is breaking into the court and stealing things from right under their noses. It was a novella and it was fine. I would like to read more from this author and hopefully really love the full-length ones. Then I read Because I Need You by Contreras. I gave this 3 stars. This is a Latinx author and is a mafia romance, and it was fine. It wasn't terrible. It didn't hold my attention super well either. It was fine. That's really all I have for you. Then I reread Skin, which is Lost Touch Duet #1 by Aveda Weiss. I gave this 5 stars. Like I said, this is a reread. This is basically the first scene or 2 of Inextricably Tied, which is coming out in July. Because I plan on reading that right away, I did want to just reread this. It is a gargoyle and a banshee, and she can't touch anybody without being forever connected to them. They accidentally touch Skin, and then they bang out. There's size difference, praise kink, a very gentle but stern giant who's gonna be like a daddy dom. Then I have Just Breathe by Mila Crawford. I gave this 2 stars. This was 2 serial killers, and they kind of work for the mob, kind of don't. They killed abusers. They tried to kill each other. There's insta-love. They bang in the same room as a body that they unalived, which, I mean, maybe I'm just not desensitized enough, but I would not be doing that. It was not great, but it was obsessive insta-love. Then I read Hunter's Quest by Lynnea. I gave this 3 stars. This is aliens on Earth, and there's like a bug apocalypse, and they, kill everything, and the aliens are like their natural predators who follow them around the universe trying to eradicate them, and all the aliens are clones, and there's definitely mates. The X in this was so annoying. If I could have killed him myself, I would have. The fact that the main character wouldn't kill him, wouldn't let anybody else kill him, and just like let him be a mooch was so incredibly annoying. Then I have Little Bird, which is Twisted City Duet #1 by Wilde. I gave this 2 stars. This was mafia, I believe. Captive captor. There's knife play, and like the first second that they're involved with each other, she's like the secret daughter of this mob boss, and she doesn't even know that she's his daughter. and, you know, falls right into his enemy's hands, and then he'll do anything for her. This is the first book in Duet, and when I tell you I could not care less enough to want to bother to read the next book, like, I do not care. I'm not reading another 350 pages to figure out what happens with them, because it was not very good. Then I read Mr. Librarian by B. Love. I gave this 3 stars. This is Black Love, and she restores old books, and he runs a historic Black library, and she has an altercation like in his library and is crying. But then the entire plot like didn't really make sense to me. Like, it didn't make a lot of sense. I saw a lot of flaws in the game plan, and I just couldn't really get over it. This is spiritual, there's trauma, insta-love, but take it slow for healing. So even though they were immediately like, we're gonna do this, they didn't bang for like several months, and they took it really slow in that way. And their meet cute was good. It was good stuff. Then I read Psycho, which is Necessary Evils #2 by Onley James. I gave this 5 stars. This does deal with murdered and missing Indigenous women and the torture of women, an FBI profiler. Both of the main characters are professors. One is obviously an obsessive psychopath, and the other has a little bit of like a supernatural ability, a sixth sense. If he touches you, he knows things about you, and that's how he knew his coworker was a killer, and that's how he knows now that this professor is a killer. But he's already fallen from grace from the FBI, and so he can't just accuse another coworker of being a serial killer. So I liked it. I liked it a lot. Like I said, these obsessive psychopaths are my perfect balance. They just are. They're very crappy. Like, you can just compulsively read them. Then I read Scrap, which is Stillbones Motorcycle Club #3 by Kate C. Wells. I gave this 5 stars. Content warning for rape. So she was raped and basically completely cut open, like life-saving surgery. She has a ton of trauma from it, not only PTSD and anxiety attacks, but her healing took forever. She will never be able to have children or anything like that. Lots of surgeries, all of that, and has, you know, horrible scarring. He killed the person who did it to her and has been in prison for 10 years. She was 16 and is now 26. She's never been with anybody. She has no life outside of just, you know, going to work and going back to the apartment over her parents' house. Like, she's deeply traumatized. Even with therapy, she's deeply traumatized, and he has been in love with her all these years. He is older than she is, so he was like 22 when she was 16. So be aware of that. They did like kiss at that point once. He has always been in love with her, has been in love with her all the years that he was away, and she does not welcome him with open arms. She, because of the trauma, like I said, she hasn't been living, but also she's gained a lot of weight and things like that. She no longer dresses up or anything, and so she just is like, this is not what you want. But he was so incredibly sweet and patient, and was just like, a life where I'm not loving her is not one that I know. And so even with all that trauma, even with all those content warnings, it was still a sweet book because of the relationship between them. Then I read Sips of Her, which is Coffee Shops of Love #2 by Carmen Lee. I gave this 4 stars. This is a lesbian romance where one of the main characters is not out and does not come out on page to her religious family. There are content warnings for homophobic family, which is not really on page, but we know that she doesn't want to come out because she doesn't think that they'll accept her. A toxic ex and bad communication. This is fake dating for a minute, but it was a really cute Black love, completely unconnected to the first book in the series. And I read Diamond Fire, which is Hidden Legacy 3.5 by Ilona Andrews. I gave this 4 stars. This is a bridge novella between Aveda and Rogan's trilogy, which are the first 3 books in the series, and Catalina's trilogy, which are the next 3 books, the third of which is coming out soon. So this is the bridge novella. We do get it from Catalina's perspective, and it follows the wedding of Nevada and Rogan and the family that Nevada is marrying into. Then I read Rogan's POV for Wildflyer, which is book 3. So this is 3.1. and I gave this 3 stars. It's his point of view of the scene where he requests help from the weather mages, and that's it. Then I read The Witch's Wolves by Ellie Mae McGregor. I gave this 4 stars. This is a bi Red Riding Hood who has to run away from her homophobic village, and she runs into these 2 wolf men. So they are not shifters, they just have wolf characteristics, and they are a longtime couple, and they welcome her like within a day of being their third and being their wife. It was really cute, sweet, steamy. Then I read Claim by the Orc Prince, which is the Orc Prince trilogy #1 by Lionel Hart. I gave this 4 stars. You have an orc and an elf who have to marry each other in order to complete this alliance between their people who have been at war and enemies for forever. And the elves, the men or the women can get pregnant, and they're also self-lubricating. So there's mpreg in this, although it's not on page and not between the couple. So that was an interesting part of the world. The thing I really, really hated about this book, I really liked the book. Overall, really liked the book. But what I hated about it was that they had a mating bond where they could feel each other's emotions, and they had a really strong bond. And at the first doubt, the first inconvenience, the elf just breaks the bond and throws the orc away. And I hated that was the third act conflict. I feel like if you get a mating bond in that book, that should pretty much like be a guarantee that they're not gonna do that. It was so annoying. It was such a stupid reason too. Like I hated that part so much. I did a long rant in my queer romance blog. Then I read Our Teachers Are Dating Volume 1, which I gave 5 stars. This is a sapphic manga. It's quick, slice of life, very short, that we pick up with them after they've gone on their first date. They've been circling each other for around 3 years. It's just very sweet, a little bit steamy, but mostly just the 2 of them being so sweet to each other, and even when they're unsure, communicating. It was really quick, and I really loved it. Then I read Volume 2, more of the same, really good. A little more steam in that one. There's no plot, and I did give it 5 stars. And I read Neighborly, which is Erotic Encounters #2 by Katrina Jackson. I gave this 5 stars. This is 2 couples, 2 male-female couples, and then the women are involved with each other, and the men are very supportive of their wife and girlfriend being involved with each other or involved with somebody else. The communication is great. There's absolutely no cheating. It's all so consensual. It is really communicated extremely well. It's so good. It's so good. I loved it. One of the guys is a fighter, and so you get some locker room scenes, and you get some scenes where the men are in the room as well, and it was just so well done. They were only interested in their woman, but they were also very supportive of them having any and everything that they wanted. And one of the couples was a little bit older, and I really liked the care that was taken for her back. That was really bad. And also just like the adoration and worship of each other. It was great. Then I reread Run, Posey, Run, which is Underboss Insurrection #1 by Casey Wilde. I gave this 5 stars, obviously. Nikki the Driver is her next book that's coming out, and it was gonna come out in July maybe, but it's now definitely not coming out before August. You do get to see him in here. Run, Posey, Run. He is a psychopath, and she is someone who needs love even when it comes from abusive relationships. And the reread was great. Already knowing his mind, how it works, where the story was going, it was so entertaining to watch them battle that out again. Then I reread The Will, which is Magdalene #1 by Kristen Ashley. I gave this 4 stars. This is one of those ones where, for unknown reasons, every man she comes in contact with desperately wants to be with her. She is a older main character, late 40s, I think. There's content warnings for domestic abuse by both her father and a ex-boyfriend. Grief. The beginning of the book is her at her grandmother's funeral, and her grandmother leaves her in her will to this guy that she's never even heard of, although it turns out he and his family were extremely close to her grandmother. I had completely forgotten that he was a boxer and that there was a locker room scene in here. I definitely remembered the scene, but I did not realize that it was this book or anything. Also, I feel like the dialogue in this might annoy you. It didn't really for me, but it definitely could. And also there's like a polygamy drama happening with the teenagers, because like his son has like 5 girlfriends, and I didn't really like the way it all went down. I didn't appreciate how he didn't give the girlfriend that he wanted to keep. I didn't think he gave her enough of a chance. I didn't like it. There's also going to be a content warning for cancer, and here a side character is dying of cancer throughout the book, and also negligent parents. Then I reread Soaring, which is Magdalene #2 by Kristen Ashley. I also gave this 4 stars. This is a very ugly divorce. She maybe didn't act the greatest and has kind of lost the respect and love of her kids, and now is bound and determined that she's going to fix that, and she's going to get her kids back emotionally, if not full custody. So she moves to Magdalene, and she has a romance with her neighbor who is also a single parent. Content warnings for cheating spouse, ugly divorce, alcoholic spouse/parent, and bullying of teen children. So there's a lot I remembered about this one. There's a lot I had forgotten, but one big thing is she's super rich, and that is a conflict in their relationship. Then I reread, this is my last reread, The Devil's Bargain by Ryan Fox. This is like a 25-page erotic horror book. I gave this 5 stars. It's male, MPreg, breeding demon, and like a nerdy middle-aged black guy in Philadelphia with a grimoire. I just like it. I just do. Then I read Autumn of the Witch, which is Seasons of the Lukoi #4 by Iris Foxglove. This is a shared pen name. I gave this 4 stars. This is a polyamorous relationship, and in this world it seems like everyone is dominant or submissive, so BDSM is like an entire part of the world. And so we have a very large, happy-go-lucky submissive, and then his tiny wife who is a witch, who is a dominant, but she's also chronically ill, has been her whole life. And I was really worried that was going to get magically fixed by the end of the book, but that is not what happens. She is ill, she remains ill, and I appreciated that fact that it wasn't just like, oh, we found the spell, you're done, you're cured, you know? And then they rescue, or he rescues, a toy maker whose house burns down. And he is a dominant who is a virgin who, because he doesn't like crowds and doesn't work the same way that other people work, definitely with some neurodivergent rep there, his parents just, thought he was weird and a problem, and so he is not used to people accepting him. The relationship between the 3 of them is just really, really sweet. And also, they are sadists and he is a masochist, the sub is, so if you don't like pain play, that's very present. Then I read They the Pretty Stars, which is Court High #1 by Eden O'Neill. I gave this 1 star. It's a bully romance, and it was so bad. It was so bad. You have content warnings for abortion from a teenager, death of loved ones, fat phobia, neglectful, abusive parents. The relationship made next to no sense. There was no real development of it. So the head of the school was her sister's best friend, and none of it made any sense. So her sister has lived with her dad all these years to help protect her from her dad, and she's lived with her aunt ever since her mom died of cancer when she was a kid, and things just do not make sense. It ended kind of on a cliffhanger, and it was very bad. I do not recommend. Then I read Thieves and Monsters, which is 3 Fates Mafia #1 by Opal Fairchild. I gave this 1 star. This was solidly a 2 star until the final sex scene knocked off an entire star for me. So let me just explain and break this down for you into bite-sized manageable pieces. We have the 3 Fates Mafia. It's run by the 3 Fates of Greek mythology. And we have a few different participants, but specifically, we are going to be involved with the 3 men who make up Cerberus. Cerberus? Doesn't matter. So they each have a mortal form, and they each have a monster form, and then they can combine to make Cerberus. Cerberus, doesn't matter. And then we have the little thief that is their mate that gets sent to steal from them, and they're instantly like, oh, mate, the smell, it's amazing. So there's absolutely no reason for them to have a relationship except for the mating stuff. Like, they had no conversations, they had no development. It was just, mate, can't resist you, you're amazing, I love everything about you. Which is fine, but just letting you know, there's zero development, okay? Lots of BDSM, sexy times, all of this. The guys are involved with each other. 2 of them have been involved with each other for a very long time, and the third one does get involved throughout the book. Here's where you well and truly lost me, okay? She gets kidnapped, yada, 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 and so they form Cerberus. Cerberus. How do they sing it in Encanto? Yo, I don't want to fight Cerberus. Cerberus? They form it. That's fine. Whatever. And then they're like, maybe you could have sexy times with us. Okay, first of all, okay, I have a few pet peeves before we get to this final sex scene. Number 1, they have knots, right? Which is like an Omegaverse thing, but it's like a swelling inside the dick, right? It's like a nice little circle or donut. So one of them has 1, one of them has 2, and one of them has 3. All right, fine, multi-size, it's fine. 2 knots, Dick could not get everything inside of her, right? He could only get 1 knot in, not both. So then 3 knot is like, that's fine, but I'm gonna take you in the butt and you're gonna be able to fit all of me. Now, also, was there lube used? I don't think so. But is it just me? Like, do we... Would back be better for bigger? I don't think so. I don't think so. So they make like this whole deal about how she couldn't fit all of 2, but then the back door can fit all of 3. What? I don't understand it. Okay, whatever. All right. I mean, I was not really in with this, but here we are. The final sex scene, mind you, I don't see things super clearly while reading. It's like bits, pieces, blurriness, right? But by all of the descriptions, we were having sexy times with not a monster form of the men, but very much a canine form. A canine form, which weirds me out to no end. Hey, listen, if you were gonna have a monster romance and you can have all these animalistic traits, that does not bother me. But they need to be, what's the word where like, the word where like they walk on 2 legs, not like 4 legs. Biped? Is that what that is? That's what I need you to, like, I need you to have like kind of a humanoid form going on versus an animal form. Like I need that. I need that very important distinction. And I do not think that that's what we're doing. And then on top of the fact that it was a dog, a giant dog, as far as I could tell, it had 3 peens. For what? Why would you have 3 peens? Do you not have 3 heads with 1 body? Why would you have 3 peens? You wouldn't. It just doesn't make any sense. Why would you? You wouldn't. Then, mind you, each one is the size of her forearm. Then somehow miraculously, in a way that I truly do not understand the logistics of, she took all 3 in different holes at the same time. Now I don't, what? No. I was not having a good time. I was weirded out so much. At that point, it had to be a 1-star romance because I was not doing okay. So there's that. That's all I've got for you there. And then lastly, I read Rotanov by Lexi C. Foss. This is a novella about Poseidon and his long-lost siren mate. I gave this 5 stars. This came out last year. I've had it on my TBR for like a full year. Finally read it. It was really good. So he's like seeking revenge on the siren who stood him up at the altar, and she has a reincarnation that his people have found because of the internet. But she has no memory, like she has no access to her siren memories, like she has no idea. She's just like very attracted to him, very submissive to him. But she's also having to do sex work to pay off the debts of her mother to this other man. So I was worried that Poseidon was going to be like mean to her for a lot of the book because he's trying to get revenge on her and she doesn't even know what he's talking about. But he figured out pretty quickly that things were not on the up and up, and he was honestly nice to her. Definitely dominant, but also nice. And yeah, it was them coming back together, fated mates in a way that they should have been for thousands of years. It was steamy and it was really good. It really lived up to my expectations for it. Loved it. Loved it. Highly recommend. So that's it. Those are all the books I read in June. Let me know if you read or plan to read any of these. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.